Ooh. Hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and we're on the penultimate episode of the case study of Vanitas, and I'm a little bit nervous. Because we just spent the last episode talking about Mikhail, talking about his origin story along with Vanitas. We've established that Mikhail is a very warped individual who has been warped from his childhood into the warped vampire that he is now. Although what's interesting is that they're technically, the blue moon is like, I'll make you part of my clan, which means essentially a vampire. But Vanitas is so very, very certain to make sure that everyone knows he's not a vampire. And it's like, but you are, kind of. So it's like, ugh. And so you have Mikhail, who's a very warped individual who has had this traumatic childhood and has had a very altered perception of reality, and that just gets, warped even further because they develop this attachment to the Blue Moon vampire, and then suddenly they're gone. Now, do I think that Vanitas killed them? Possibly. Do I think that they meant to kill them? Possibly. Do I think that it's probably something inadvertently that happened because of the Blue Moon vampire's own accord? More than likely. But do I think there's a bunch of misunderstandings about everything? Yes, and misunderstandings are like one of my least favorite tropes. So I'm like, no, and I don't get good vibes, because you have, the one good thing about it is that Vanitas in Mikhail's visions was not necessarily a bad person. You can definitely tell he's been traumatized, and you can definitely tell he has very low self-worth and doesn't believe much of himself. But from what Mikhail knows, there's not really any reason for Mikhail to hate Vanitas, like, at all. But he sacrificed a lot for Mikhail, and Noe can see that. But the question is, what about the Blue Moon vampire dying, and what about their involvement, and what's happening? The problem with all of this is that Mikhail has Dominique in his clutches, and Noe loves Dominique, whether you ship them or whether you view it as, like I do, like a platonic sibling relationship. Noe loves Dominique, and so Mikhail having control of her, I feel, is going to be used as a bargaining chip in this, which I'm not happy about, but I don't know what to do. It's just, it's a penultimate episode. Next week we've got the final episode, and then I'll be looking at the manga, and I'm just, So yeah, it's just, it's a lot, but I'm not looking forward to this. I did remember my headphones this time. Y'all got a freebie last week, but I remember my headphones this time. I just, I don't know. I don't get good vibes. I have like dread pooling in my stomach. Last week was like, it was very heartbreaking and tragic, but there was so much levity and fun moments with seeing the flashback of them with the Blue Moon vampire, and it was funny, it was cute. I don't feel like it's going to be funny and cute the last two episodes. I just don't feel like it is. And there's so many loose threads we don't have wrapped up, like Ruthven and his wager or his vow that he's made with Noe. We're probably not going to get that wrapped up in this. It's probably going to have to be saved for the manga. And whatever certain characters we're looking for, it's probably going to be wrapped up and saved for the manga. So, I don't know. I'm very curious what all we're going to get, but I just don't know. I've been told that the manga, the volumes that I can look at, are pretty much, they're all covering the anime that we've looked at. The only difference is that there are some changes made in the second half, which is what I'm really interested in, that have been changed from the anime. But I don't think I'm going to keep up with the manga like I do with Yona of the Dawn and Hanako-kun, because I'm hopeful, this just came out last year. I'm hopeful they'll do a second season. I really hope that they do. So I'm going to recap the manga kind of like what I do for Bungo Stray Dogs, because that makes sense, and there could be some differences that I'd like to see, but I don't think I'm going to follow this series like I do with Hanako-kun and Yona and Seraph of the End, only because I think they're going to make another season in the future at some point, and I want to watch that and be surprised, because I really enjoyed this. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy this episode. I'm a bit dreading it, but what can we do? I want to give a special shout out over to our patrons over on Patreon and thank them in the philanthropy tier. Thanks to all my subscribers and supporters. Thanks to everyone on Patreon. You all are amazing, and I enjoy talking with you about the series and in the comments or in the Discord, whatever. But these patrons go above and beyond each month, and so I want to recognize them in some of my videos. So A special shout out to Edgar, to Dana, to Anime Annie, to Tyrone, to Eric, to Alex Cornejo, to Be Happy, to Kiri, to Shimoyama, to Sunspots, to Translucent Men, to Nameless Monster, to Matthew Palfinier, to Goob, to Anna, to Ashley Got Snow Bitches, and to Trails. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. All of my love. So yeah, we're just gonna get started with this. I see what happens, right? So we're gonna start the case study of Vanitas, episode 23, here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. This episode was painful. This episode was really painful. The only good thing about this episode, the only good thing is that Noe, by the end of it, realizes what Vanitas is doing. He's like, oh, he's intentionally doing this and this and this to try to push me away. And that line at the end where Noe is like, I'm not going to let you free, because I'm not going to set you free because I'm not going to leave you alone. I was like, you expect me not to ship that? I'm like, yes, please. I know a lot of people ship Jean and Vanitas, and I'm here for them if it makes them happy. But I'm like, I mean, here's my view of it before we dive into this. The moment that Jean was like, Vanitas, you take care, Noe, you take care of Vanitas. Vanitas is yours. I was like, well, I mean, the ship is there, right? The ship is there, right? That's pretty much like, oh, okay, cool. And for Dami, I would like Dami to be with Jean. Let them be happy together. That'd be great. I just mainly want to ship all of these characters with happiness more than anything else. But we'll talk about it this episode. But God, and the sad thing is, I don't think, unless they're going to give us answers in the next episode of why Vanitas killed Luna, why that had to happen. There is something mutual in this. There's some things that have happened, and we're going to talk about this whole self-hypnosis thing, right? I'm going to push Whiteboard Coon a little bit closer to me. So the idea of Vanitas and what we know and don't know, all this stuff. I'm putting away over here. Mikhail is terrifying, right? So Mikhail has this thing going on. We're going to talk about Mikhail, right? And then we're going to have Dami over here. The one I feel bad for is Jean walking in on this, because Jean walks in and she's like, what? I just came to help. She's just like, wait, what? What's happening? What's going on? And yeah, seeing Vanitas with a gun is a very weird thing. It's a very weird thing. I was like, ooh, I wasn't expecting him to be packing this gun, but he stole it from Dante. So, okay. But Mikhail is terrifying, because Mikhail, I don't know what his game is. He's like, I just let Noe suck my blood because he didn't know anything about us. I thought I'd let him have a peek before he sucked your blood. So, and Vanitas is like, So Mikhail's goal is that he wants Noe to obtain Vanitas's memories. And we can assume that his memories are connected to Luna's. I'm glad Luna has a name now, because Bloom and Vampire is a very hard thing to say over and over again. So he's like, he has Luna's memories, and no one else needs them. I'm very fascinated about that. I'm excited the manga is going to keep going, and that potentially the manga is going to keep going, because that means the show may potentially keep going. Because I feel like there's so many loose threads we haven't even touched upon, and we only have one episode left. Like, we have the whole thing with Ruthven, we have the thing with the Shapeless one, we've got all of the backstory. Like, this story is very expansive, and there's lots of room for more things to be discussed. But I'm like, we're not going to get it all in the next episode. And even if they try to cram it all in, I'm sure when we look at the manga, it's going to be expanded, and they're going to be like, no, there's still lots of unanswered questions, right? Which I'm fine with. We have Luca's brother that's unanswered. We've got lots of, like, open threads. So I'm probably not going to, like I said, I'm probably not going to follow this series like I do Yona and Hanako-kun, unless we just get like a bunch of volumes or stuff that are able to go to or whatever, because I would like to see it animated. Seeing this animated was really fun and exciting, and I know it'll take forever for us to get to that point, but I don't know. I mean, maybe, I definitely am not doing chapter by chapter, absolutely not. I'm doing that with one series now, and it's torturous. So I'm like, no. And they don't make for very lengthy reactions and discussions. So I'm like, I'd rather have like a volume to talk about than just a chapter. So maybe when an entire new volume of Vanitas gets published, we'll talk about it. But as of right now, I'm not following the manga. There's just not enough content left. But that's really disappointing because I want to read and watch more, and we only have one episode left. So it's very frustrating. I definitely am like, I'm a little bit rabid, being like, I want to know answers, and this is the problem. There aren't answers yet. So I'm like, unless they just give it all to us next episode. But they really don't give us a lot of answers in this one. And so Vanitas is like, okay, so you don't remember what happened. So Vanitas talks about how he supposedly does not remember what happened to Luna and why Vanitas attacked Luna. That much is clear. We do not know why that happened. We that part has not been answered. Maybe it'll get answered next episode. I don't know. He's like, you don't know why I killed Luna, the vampire of the blue moon, do you? I wonder if something happened to Luna. Luna was corrupted, perhaps. Because from the last episode, the Luna that we saw in the last episode does not seem at all like the type of character that would attack Mikhail or Vanitas, or attack anybody for that matter. They seemed really, really good. So could it be that they were corrupted somehow, or they were tested somehow? And I'm thinking that I don't think Vanitas attacked Mikhail. I think Luna attacked Mikhail, and that's why Vanitas had to kill them, because they attacked Mikhail, and Mikhail just doesn't remember. Mikhail's blocked it out, right? I feel like maybe did Luna get corrupted somehow? Get corrupted by Ruthven and his crew, by something else? Get corrupted and attack Mikhail, or had their hand forced, and that led Vanitas to kill them, thinking that Mikhail was dead, and was like, because it would make sense if that was the case, because Vanitas has never really had any trust towards vampires, and his trust with Luna and Mikhail was just dangling by a thread, and it was only there because Mikhail was there. The only reason Vanitas even went with them was because Mikhail begged him to, and he felt connection to Mikhail, who was a human. So could it be possible that Vanitas, he killed Luna because they attacked Mikhail, and then he thought Mikhail was dead, so he left and thought he was all alone? Maybe that was it. He took the book with him. Could that have been it? I don't know. But there's clearly a reason behind what's been going on, right? Something's been happening. And so I want to get back to this idea where he's like, someone kind saved me and gave him the mechanical arm. So, and gave the mechanical arm. So someone kind, someone quote unquote kind saved Mikhail and gave him the arm and told them there's a way to bring Luna back. That seems a bit odd and weird and not true entirely. I'm wondering if it was Machina, because Machina seems to have wanted the alteration engine. Is there a chance that they were going to use Mikhail to try to bring Luna back, like Full Metal Alchemist style, and use the alteration engine to get that to happen? So they employed Dante Johann to go get it, and that's part of it, because they're working for Machina. And Machina, that would make sense. The automaton, the Doberman Pinscher automaton there, the fake arm, that would all tie to them. It would make sense, right? It would make sense. And although I'm with Vanitas, the idea of like, wait a minute, bring them back. No, that sounds like a bad idea. And Vanitas is like, absolutely not. That does need to happen. I mean, if we've learned anything from Full Metal Alchemist, bringing people back from the dead does not go the way that you think it's going to. No, all three of us could live together again. Forget your stupid revenge and come with me, big brother. Yeah, and he fires the gun, and the dog, he fired the gun, and Mikhail knew he was going to fire the gun. He's doing this all to provoke him, right? Mikhail is so hard to read because there's a part of Mikhail that seems innocent, and you're like, I don't think he knows what he's doing. But then there's another part of you that's like, no, he deliberately knows what he's doing. He is deliberately doing these things and passing himself off as innocent, and it's terrifying because of how effective it is, right? It's terrifying. But Vanitas is like, no. And there's this moment here where Vanitas firing the gun, and Mikhail's like, that's not like you. You don't usually use guns. And Vanitas is like, bring that vampire back. Are you insane? Do you know how hard I tried to wipe out all traces of that vampire's existence? And that's when Noé stands up. So the idea of Vanitas saying that vampire, it's his way to distance himself, to distance from others, right? He's basically saying, like, that vampire. Now, the question is, Luna didn't seem like that bad of a vampire, so why would Vanitas have such a strong reaction against them? We don't know. Unless it's the idea that maybe, possibly, something happened and Luna was going to die and knew they were going to die and told Vanitas to be the one to kill them. And they were like, look, when you kill me, I'm going to give you all of my power, all of my memories, everything. And I'm going to store them within you, whether you like it or not. You're going to be the one to inherit my conscience, essentially. And I'm going to let you have it. And the thing is, you can't let anybody ever access your memories. You can't let anyone ever have your blood. But he lets Jean drink his blood, right? So it's like, but wait a minute, you let Jean drink your blood, but that wasn't the trade-off. Luna said it's not that anybody couldn't drink his blood. He's like, you can't let anybody have your memories. No one can have your memories, right? Whatever happens to me, whatever happens to you, don't let anybody take your memories from you. And Mikhail, knowing Mikhail uses Noé and lures him in with his blood just to give Noé just a little taste, to be like, don't you want to know more? Doesn't your curiosity want to know more about Vanitas? Because Mikhail knows that Noé is innocent, and Noé is not the type of person to hurt someone. And he's like, don't you want to find out for yourself about Vanitas? Well, here he is, right? He's just feeding off of that, right? Noé's whole thing is that he wants to protect Dami. He wants to protect Dami from falling. And it hurts so much whenever Noé is like, I don't care about you, I just care about Dami. It hurts so much because, damn it, we know that Noé cares about Vanitas. He may not romantically care about him, but we know that he cares about him. It's just, he's like, fine, if you don't care about me, I don't care about you, but I care about her, so let's have that. But that use of that vampire and the idea of this self-hypnosis, right? That's what snaps him out of it, is the idea of the name, right? Which I love that the idea of the name is coming back in this series. Like, this whole time we've had Luna didn't have a name. Was Vanitas the one that gave them a name? We don't know. And we have the idea of the curse of Narnia and the others stealing names. We don't know what happened to them. That's still out in the open. Like you do. But the idea that he doesn't say their name, because it's almost like that self-hypnosis, it could be used on any vampire. It could be used against Ruthven. It could be used against the Shapeless One. It could be used against Dominique. It's the idea that if anybody tries to steal my memories and suck my blood without my permission, then I go into this self-hypnosis state and I try to kill them, right? Which makes sense why he had to so forcefully offer his consent to John, so that wouldn't be a possibility. What's interesting is that the Shapeless One, like, willingly got Noé from the beginning, under the guise knowing that he was fascinated with the blue moon. So I am definitely in the camp of the Shapeless One and Luna have history, and they know each other, and whether they're friends or enemies, we don't know, but there's some kind of connection and reasoning there, right? There's some reasoning behind it. And he's like, get out of the way, I'm going to finish him off. He's like, no, Dominique's in danger. It must have something to do with that book of his. And Vanitas is like, it has nothing to do with that. He's like, that may be true. Just tell me what happened that day. I don't want to do what Mikhail wants me to do. Yeah, Mikhail wants him to fight. He's like, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to drink your blood. I don't want to do what Mikhail wants. Like, so stop. Just tell me yourself. And Vanitas is like, no. He's like, spare me. I'm not telling you. And Vanitas just wants to keep that distance. He's just so afraid of people getting close to him. And he thinks so little of himself. For all the reasons we saw last episode, for the reasons of him killing Luna, for everything, he just thinks he's a horrible person. It's like, you're not. Just quit being that way. You know? I'll kill you if you get in my way. He's like, I told you. And he's like, I can't lose them like I lost Louis. And that's when Mikhail reveals that they know everything about Louis and everything because Dominique has told them all. It took me a second to remember that, but Dominique has told him everything. And I like to know, he's like, wait, how do you know this? And then Mikhail is like taking the knife and just like stabs it and just rubs it in as hard as he can. Because he like not only reveals that Dominique has shared this personal information about herself with him and not Noe, which Noe's probably like, wait, what? She shared this with you and not me? Now, whether she did that of her own volition or whether Mikhail forced her to, that remains to be seen. But not only that, but it's the fact that the things she revealed to Mikhail are so personal and tied to Noe that no wonder he's like, wait, what? How dare? Excuse me? Like, it's awful. And you can't help but feel bad for them. And we go back to Noe saying, like, I like you with your long hair. That's the Dami I know and love. And I love that about Noe is that he loves Dami for who she is. Right? And the sad thing is that Dami, she's jealous of Jean, which Mikhail plays up and plays to that jealousy, and she doesn't think she's good enough. What's interesting enough is that Dami and Vanitas, they're very similar in this episode. Both Dominique and Vanitas have survivor's guilt. They both have a lot of lack of self-worth. And they both have two white-haired individuals that care about them deeply. So, like, on all fronts, it's a love square. It's just a love square between Jean, Dominique, Noe, and Vanitas. It's just a little love square, and I'm fine with that. But I feel so bad because, yeah, Noe's like, I like you for you. Don't try to be somebody that you're not. And then, of course, this episode's called Tears Like Rain, and it's raining. And he's like, I told you, I will kill you if you try to suck my blood. He's like, I told you already, we're not having this. I said that way back on the bed at the midpoint of the season. I wasn't joking. And then Noe thinks that the only way he's going to be able to save Dominique is to do this. And he's like, if you won't budge, I'll start by finishing her off. And that was the part that got me, because I'm like, Vanitas, you do not want to kill Dominique. But there's a line here, right? We talk about shipping here. There's a line here where he says, that would set you free at least. That bossy dame wouldn't bedevil you anymore. And that line there, one, I love that Noe does not get the romantic context of that line at all. That part he completely leaves out. What Noe gets from that is that to Vanitas, alone equals freedom. Vanitas does not want to be tied down to anyone because he feels that commitment is restricting him from his freedoms. Which, fair enough. But the part of the conversation that Noe does not discuss later on is that he says that way if Dami was gone, she couldn't bedevil you. Meaning she couldn't bewitch you. So it's like there's a little bit of jealousy there from Vanitas where he's like, if she was gone, she couldn't bewitch you anymore. And I'm like, it just shows that Vanitas is jealous of her. And I'm like, are you freaking serious? Okay, sure. Why not? But Noe doesn't get that at all, right? And that's when Noe comes after him. Because he's like, I need to save Dami. And anytime, like, her being threatened, right, is what gets him. Now, the sad thing is that him, like, when he's above Vanitas like that, he looks like the vampires that Vanitas has hated and been afraid of his whole life. Like, he just looks like a monster. And in that moment, Vanitas, like, staring at him, thinks Noe is the monster that he doesn't want him to be. And it's so sad, right? And that's when his kind of self-hypnosis takes over in that moment. And he says, I beg you, don't ever let anyone seize your memories. Yep. And that's why he shoots at Noe. Mm-hmm. And Mikhail getting like a rise out of all of this is absolutely terrifying. Mikhail getting excited by the idea of them fighting is absolutely terrifying. And Vanitas is like, no. And them in the rain together, no. And he's like, don't give up, you two. Oh, fight like you're banishing a nightmare in dreamland. Lose yourself in murderous rage. He's like Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars. He's like, let the hatred flow through you. It's like, get out of here, Mikhail. Stop it. And Vanitas having to try to tell him that he has to kill Noe, but he doesn't want to. He clearly doesn't want to kill Noe, but he's like, I have to kill anybody that tries to seize my memories, no matter who they are. He's like, convinced himself of that. And Noe's like, what are you doing? I will kill. At first he says, I'll kill Noe, but then he says, I'll kill that vampire. Like making himself and drugging himself with the stuff. He does 2 of those vials, which Astolfo did, and like knocked himself out. So no. The thing that I was confused about was I didn't realize that the vampires, that Noe's hand could get like the clawed hand, like looks like a beast. But I guess they can. I guess Veronica and the others can. It's just you don't see it very often, right? And Noe just gets so frustrated at him because he's like, I need you to stop so I can save Dami. And the thing with the automatons, like Vanitas using the book to control them, at first I thought that it was Mikhail. I thought it was Mikhail using the robots in the park to attack Noe. But no, it was Vanitas using the book and the formula to make them go at him. It sucks. And Vanitas just looks completely disheveled. And he just looks disheveled and awful sitting there. Right? And then, yeah, Noe has the clawed hands and everything. And his arm, like... He's like, what's the point of this? Why are you doing this? Meanwhile, Dante reveals that he got mugged by Vanitas and had the gun stolen. And then the 2 girls, Richie and Amelia, tell him that, why would he be attacking Noe? What's the deal? What's going on? And Dante's like, well, he was in a really bad mood, so something's happened. And that's when Johan reveals the idea that Noe is more powerful than Vanitas, but he's never killed anybody before. And he's strong, but he knows how strong he is, so he thinks he can keep his hands clean. I love that line. I love that line by Johan. He's like, because he's strong, he thinks he can avoid killing someone. He just has to use violence to silence people and incapacitate them, but not necessarily kill them. And it's this idea of he's strong. He's strong so he can afford to not kill, versus Vanitas, who is weak, so he has to fight to survive. And it's just so sad because I'm like, you guys don't need to be doing this at all. Like, you guys don't have to be fighting at all. It's like my worst trope come to life. I'm like, Mikhail's put you both against each other, but you don't, it doesn't have to be this way, right? He abhors violence. He's like, but I can't catch him. And so he realizes that, Noe realizes that even though he knows nothing about Vanitas has been watching him this whole time and recognizing his fight patterns even when Noe himself doesn't recognize them. He's like, I can't stop, but I don't want to kill him. And it's so sad. And he's like, you need to stop. Some don't want to kill because they are strong. And then others will do anything to survive because they are weak. And it's just juxtaposing it with Vanitas and Noe. There's a crucial difference between them when the chips are down. And it's just like, I hate Vanitas, like stabbing him with the knife. I hate it. Because Vanitas believes that he doesn't have a choice. And at this point, the thing that also makes me mad is that Vanitas is in a self-hypnosis state. Noe doesn't know that. He doesn't snap out of it until the very, very end. And Mikhail knew about it. So I'm like, Mikhail, who supposedly doesn't know anything about Luna's death or about his own injuries, somehow knows that Vanitas imposed this self-hypnosis. How dare you, sir? Mikhail is terrifying because we don't know what he does and doesn't know and what he's lying and telling the truth about. He's a very unreliable narrator. And then with Vanitas, what I'm afraid of is that he snaps out of it at the very end when they land on the ground. My fear is that he's going to snap out of it, and then Vanitas is going to attack him thinking that he's still in the trance. That's what I'm afraid of. But maybe not. Maybe not. He decided he wasn't going to at the end, so I don't know. I don't know. He's like, I would have already killed him if I hadn't held back. Luckily, Noe is a vampire, so he's not easily killed, right? He's like, but that's not it. He's coming at me because he's sure I don't want to kill him. He's aware of the attack patterns I didn't even realize I had. And then he's like, damn it. And that's when he confronts him. He's like, it's always the same with you. You always have this look as if you alone know everything. Like this very pretentious look. He's like, but you don't tell me anything. The way you've treated those dear to me with contempt, which is jealousy, but no, he doesn't get that. But, You never listen to a word I've said. And you've dismissed everything so far as if it's never happened. He's like, don't you have anything to say for yourself? At least say something. Ugh, I hate it. It's so freaking sad. And that's when Mikhail's like, no, if anyone tries to seize his memories, he'll kill them no matter who they are. But Noe breaks through it at the very end. And Mikhail's like, don't worry, big brother. Even you, this was the kind of the sadistic part, was when he's like, oh, don't worry. Even if you slay Noe, even if it completely crushes your soul and leaves you damaged inside because you miss him, because you cared about him, I'll be here for you. I'm like, Mikhail is very delusional, because I'm like, you don't get that Vanitas will hate you until the end of time and try to kill you. It's so freaky. It's like Mikhail's just trying to whittle Vanitas down, but I'm like, did you... Mikhail lives in a huge state of delusion. And it's like, what the fudge? I'll be the one with you forever. Meanwhile, we have the whole thing with Dami. And I was really starting to get comfortable thinking that maybe Dominique was like, oh, I can break out of this. And then she's like, I couldn't go on living if I were to lose Noe. And so that's what makes her decide, I'll just sacrifice myself. And then he can be free. It's like Dominique and Vanitas have the exact same thought patterns. They're like, if we just kill ourselves, then everything will be fine. And thank God Jean was like, no. At that moment, whenever she throws herself off, Noe is like, oh my God, no, this is not what I wanted. And then that's when Jean I love that Jean's like, what the fudge is going on? Why are you all fighting? I love that Jean shows up and she's like, what is happening? Why is this going on? I'm like, Jean, thank you for bringing some levity into this, right? And that's when Mikhail shows up, and Mikhail's like poisoned Dominique's mind to the point where she hates Jean. And he's like, Mademoiselle, everyone who stands in our way is a villain. Yeah, she has been brainwashed by Mikhail. Nope, not good. Not good at all. And the way that he holds her, he has to touch her to get it to go back. So I'm like, there's something about him touching her that activates maybe the hold that he has on her. I don't know. But it's where she's going to fight Jean, and Jean's like, fine, whoever you are, Vanitas, keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on Vanitas. I love that Jean says, don't fight Vanitas. She says, keep an eye on him. He's a lot. And that's when Noe's like, keep an eye on him. Of course I knew as much. Yeah, I knew as much. And then, of course, Mikhail is not powerless. He uses the book to dismantle, to make her weapon obsolete, so that's a problem. And that's when he sees Vanitas behind him. But it's just a glass. He thinks he sees Vanitas behind him, but it's just a glass. And then he sees what he looks like. And he does look pretty monstrous. And Noe's like, is this what he saw? Have I always looked like this? Why can't I remember what Vanitas looks like from before? He's like, what did I see? What was I seeing that wasn't him? And I love him like cracking against the glass there. Like, that's so good. like him just cracked up against it. Like, what am I doing? You know? And then he just gets so mad, he realizes, yeah. He, like, sees the montage. He's like, even so, even if I don't understand him, I've been watching him since we met. And even though I don't get what his deal is, he's a big baka, still, I've seen what kind of person he is. And I love this part. He's like, let's just finish this. I want it to go back to the way it was. And I love his eyes are purple again. And he's like, look, you're adversarial and you always do exactly what you want. He doesn't care if he gets hurt. Oh, because he can't let others get hurt because of him. Exactly. It's that selflessness. He pushes everyone away in an effort to isolate himself, but he's also selfish. That would set you free. And he's like, now I get it. What he calls being free actually means being alone. And then he has all these like wires guarding him. Kill that vampire. And he's like, my name is Noe, not that vampire. Oh, and that gets Vanitas to like hesitate. And then of course everything collapses and they all fall towards each other. I want to get this moment down, right? Yep. This is absurd. It really is. Listen to me, Vanitas. I'll never do the one thing that you wish. I'm never going to set you free. Oh, yep. And that's when it all disappears. But now the question is, when they land on the ground, did he stab? Did he stab Noe or not? They don't tell us. They're not telling us. Did he stab him or not? We don't know. Damn it. Damn it. Of course, my dogs. My biggest fear in all of this is that next episode, either Noe is going to think that Vanitas is still in his trance and he's going to hurt him, or that Vanitas broke out of the trance just in time to actually hurt Noe, and then there's no going back. But I'm like, I don't want the story to have a sad ending, but I'm not seeing how it can have a happy ending either. And I don't know if I'm going to wait to find out. I might not be able to wait a week, guys. I might not be able to. Well, we'll just have to see, won't we? So I hope you all enjoyed this reaction and discussion. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below, but I'm probably not going to wait to watch the season finale, and then I'll be looking at the manga. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more, the season finale of the case study of Vanitas. Bye.